Extreme heat out west, flash flooding possible in the Ohio Valley and the Mid-Atlantic, and your full tropical weather update, including the potential for a major hurricane across the Baja of California as we head into the middle and late portion of next week. Thank you guys, everybody, for subscribing down below, all the new subscribers out there. Thank you guys all so much for joining me this morning. Welcome back here, another Sunday morning. We got lots to talk about in this video. It's a long-range weather forecast video, so do stick with me throughout the video, as I will be breaking down every single weather pattern in this video so you guys can understand what we're talking about and also hear the weather pattern behind it and what we're seeing out there. So thank you guys again. Subscribe down below and like the video, definitely much appreciated. So looking here out west across portions of Montana, Wyoming, all the way down to California, we have heat alerts, we have red flag warnings, we got excessive heat warnings and heat advisories in the oranges there, covering much of the western United States, and that's because we have the ongoing heat across this area. As you can see with the upper level heights here, we have that ridge continuing across the western and central United States, mainly along and west of the Rockies, bringing a lot of high heat and even record-breaking heat across this area, especially into central and southern California, with all of those excessive heat warnings this afternoon. That will continue as we head even into your Monday and Tuesday timeframe, with that ridge starting to expand a little bit more across the Rockies as we head into Tuesday. And even as we get into the late week portion here into September 8th, we still have that ridge maintaining its strength and position across the western United States as we get into Thursday, September 8th. So looking at the temperatures here the next 3 days, you have this afternoon, we got temperatures widespread in the 100s from much of California, much of Nevada, and then all the way up into portions there even of the northern plains, the western Dakotas, and into portions of Montana, Wyoming, even into the upper 90s as we head into this afternoon. That will continue to kind of intensify as we head into tomorrow, your Monday here to start the work week. We got widespread 110s, if not 115s across central and southern California. Places like Death Valley could be approaching 115 degrees Fahrenheit for the high temperature tomorrow on your Monday. And even as we head into Tuesday, guys, this heat is actually going to be very intense across California. We could have places, reporting in around 120 degrees potentially, especially as you get down there toward Death Valley and southwestern Arizona as we head into Tuesday, your September 6th. So definitely some extreme heat out there. Definitely want to take those precautions here. Drink plenty of fluids with water, Gatorade, Powerade, stuff like that to get those electrolytes, and also kind of remain in air-conditioned room or kind of remain in the shade if you work outside. Definitely some extreme heat out there. Check on pets, family members. Again, do not leave anybody in the cars because this is very dangerous heat. So definitely check on if you have any children in the car, if you have any pets in the car. Do want to, bring those things inside. Bring your child inside. Bring your pets inside. Definitely some dangerous heat out there. That is for sure. But looking longer range here on your September 9th through the 13th time frame, we still have that heat maintaining across portions of the northern United States and also the central United States, moving over toward New England with above average temperatures for this time of year for September 9th through the 13th, favored across much of these areas. Where you see near normal to slightly below normal temperatures across the immediate Gulf Coast into central and southern Texas, that's where we'll be seeing more of that rain activity, and then kind of near normal across the Pacific Northwest as well, with some of these troughs kind of digging down across the United States as well. But like I said, we got flash flooding possible across the Ohio Valley into the Mid-Atlantic. We got flood alerts here. We got flood watches across portions there of southern and southeastern Indiana, southern Ohio, getting into portions of central Kentucky, much of middle and eastern Tennessee, and getting down kind of towards the northeastern Georgia area as well with those flood watches. And that's because we have more moisture moving into these areas here with these boundaries setting up across the Ohio Valley into the Mid-Atlantic here this afternoon, bringing some widespread showers and thunderstorms with some heavy rainfall from Texas, but also kind of maintaining its strength across portions there into the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic as well. That will continue as we head towards your Monday here tomorrow with kind of more of those those heavier rain showers and thunderstorms kind of spreading up the I-95 corridor from Boston all the way down to New York City, getting down towards portions there of Pittsburgh, Charleston, West Virginia, and then down toward the Washington, D.C. area as well. And that will continue. Again, another slug of moisture will move up here from portions of the tropics all the way up here into the Tennessee and Ohio River valleys, and then into the mid-Atlantic as we head into the middle of next week. And that's why we have the potential for flash flooding, repeated rounds of heavier rainfall. We have that marginal to slight risk for excessive rainfall and flash flooding out there, all the way from South Texas all the way to the I-95 corridor in New England and much of the Ohio Valley as well, with that slight risk for excessive rainfall here this afternoon and this evening, kind of centered on the Ohio Valley and the Tennessee Valley as well, and then kind of inching its way down toward the Atlanta metro there into northern Georgia as well. That will continue as we head into tomorrow. Widespread slight risk across the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, and then getting up towards portions there of Boston, New York City here into Hartford, Connecticut, getting all the way back into Pittsburgh. We could be seeing some slight risk for some excessive rainfall and flash flooding there as we head into your Monday. And looking here at the next several days, the next 72 hours here going through the middle of next week, widespread rainfall totals from Boston all the way to New York City and back towards central Pennsylvania, averaging around 2 to 4 inches across much of these areas. Also across portions there of central and eastern Kentucky down through middle and eastern Tennessee, northern Georgia, the western Carolinas, and northeastern Alabama, places like Nashville, Knoxville, getting up there toward Lexington, Kentucky, and then maybe down toward the northern end there of the Atlanta metro area in Georgia. We could be talking about widespread 2 to 4 inches of rain there as well through the next 72 hours as we head toward the middle of next week. Looking at this here, going towards that September 9th through the 13th time frame, again, above average rainfall amounts can be expected across much of the deep south, the Tennessee Valley, and parts of the Ohio Valley as well. And then again, some good news out west here. We have likely above average precipitation, especially centered on Las Vegas, getting into northwestern Arizona, southwestern portions of Utah there as well. But even places like Los Angeles, San Diego, all the way up into central California, we could be talking about some, at least slightly above normal precipitation for that September 9th through that September 13th time frame, where we have below normal precipitation generally favored from the Dakotas all the way to portions of the central Great Lakes and western Great Lakes and upper Midwest as we head towards the middle of September. Looking at, as well as we get toward late next week, we're watching another feature here I did show in the other video. We do have kind of a trough moving in across the Pacific Northwest and southwestern Canada as we head towards that Thursday, September 8th time frame. Again, a lot of heating ahead of this. We could have some isolated thunderstorms firing up across the western Dakotas into eastern Montana, bringing potentially a severe threat. I do expect this to be more isolated here as we head into Thursday, but as we head into Friday, this trough will attempt to kind of turn more neutrally tilted, if not negatively tilted, on your Friday, September 9th period as it moves across the Dakotas and the northern plains. Again, more of an isolated thunderstorm coverage here. So if any thunderstorms do become severe, they will be rather isolated here. I'm not expecting an outbreak at this time. And even as we head into Saturday, again, kind of a neutrally tilted trough as we kind of move in towards the Midwest as we head here into your Saturday early next weekend. So we'll continue to watch that. Again, looking at the rainfall amounts here along this boundary with the cold front moving through with that trough. Again, not a lot of moisture along this cold front, so it's going to be kind of few and far between where we see the rainfall more of isolated to widely scattered type of showers and storms. But where they fire up, there could be enough instability for a couple of strong to severe thunderstorms with those 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, the quarter-size hail. So we'll definitely continue to watch that as we head into late next week here into early next weekend. And again, looking at the European forecast model, just kind of few and far between with the rainfall amounts at this range. Again, we'll keep you updated on this, but again, it looks like kind of few and far between, rainfall amounts averaging between 1/10 of an inch to maybe 1/4 of an inch. The heavier rainfall will more likely be up into portions of central Manitoba and northern portions of Ontario into Canada, with the active jet stream kind of more up there as we head towards next weekend. Looking to the tropics, we got a lot to talk about in the tropics, guys. Here, very active now. We've been waiting on the active tropics, and we got it. Looking first across the eastern Pacific basin here. The reason why I come to here first is because we're actually eyeing the potential of a major hurricane as we head toward the middle and late portion of next week for the Baja of California. But right now, we got Tropical Storm Javier just to the west of the Baja of California right now. Looking at that, not a lot of moisture with this. Again, all the moisture and cloud cover spreading across portions of the Baja of California California, as well as portions there getting up into the southwestern United States as well, starting to fall apart as it approaches more, wind shear and also some cooler water temperatures. This will continue to race its way to the west, and by early next week on your Tuesday, it'll be well across the central Pacific. So again, we'll wave goodbye to Javier. But looking back across the southeast here of this system, just to the west of the Mexican coast, we have a 90% chance of a system developing into a tropical storm, and maybe even a hurricane as early as Monday or Tuesday here this week. So we'll continue to watch that. Looking at some very impressive returns on the satellite imagery here of some whites, some pinks, some purples showing up. That is some very tall thunderstorm updrafts that are around 50, 60, 65,000 feet, guys. So definitely some very strong thunderstorms, strong convection starting to organize here with a low pressure system just southwest of the Mexico coast, and that will continue to move northwestward toward the Baja of California as we head towards this week. So looking here at the computer forecast models using the icon model, you can see Javier all the way up to the north here. That'll be moving to the west here, but looking back to the south, we got a 1004 millibar low pressure center, probably a tropical depression later on this afternoon, and then starting to strengthen into at least a low end tropical storm as we head into Monday, and then really strengthen quickly to a hurricane as we head towards the middle of next week on your Tuesday and Wednesday timeframe. As it approaches Cabo San Lucas, we could be talking about some storm surge. We could be talking about the eastern quadrant of that storm starting to kind of move up towards the Baja of California, which would place that area firmly in the path of the strongest winds and the heaviest rainfall as well. And that will continue as well here. Looking at the European forecast model, the same theme takes the similar track, probably not as strong as the icon model, but still taking a similar track here. And then the GFS model goes all out on a category 3, if not 4 hurricane here with a 949 millibar low pressure center. And again, a similar track, maybe just slightly to the west. So we'll continue to watch the track and intensity with this as we move forward. But no matter the track and intensity, we're going to have some wave action we'll have to talk about as well. Looking at the GFS's simulation of the significant heights of the waves out there, we could be talking about 30-foot waves to even 35-foot waves as we head into Wednesday evening, approaching Cabo San Lucas in the west coast here of Mexico. Some of these waves could be up around 20 feet, so definitely a very strong rip current risk, and definitely a very strong, no surf risk as well. We have a lot of wave action moving in here with all these strong winds and the heavy rainfall. And looking overall at the track of this, using some of the ensembles, the GEPS out there, does a very good job on showing where this could go. Again, pretty much right over the Baja of California on average, but again, either side of that is still in play, so we'll continue to watch that. But again, overall, if you live in the Cabo San Lucas area, if you have any vacation plans down there, anybody you know down there, definitely give them a call and tell them that we could be talking about a major hurricane as we head towards the middle and late portion of this upcoming week. And again, it's no surprise, we got the warm water temperatures out here that we talked about before in the oranges and reds. We have water temperatures that are in the 25 to 30 degrees Celsius range, which is very much warm. Again, these are water temperatures in Fahrenheit that are around 80, 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So definitely some very strong heating here at the surface with the water temperatures. And again, that will feed into the intensity. A lot of these models are kind of moving this into category 1, if not category 2 strength on average. But even some of the outlier models that we still have to watch could strengthen this to a category 4 hurricane potentially. So we definitely have to watch this as we get toward the middle and end portion of next week. Again, looking at the wind component with this, yeah, it's going to be a strong wind maker, but we also have to look at the heavy rainfall aspects of this. The European forecast model spreading widespread rainfall of 5 to 10 inches of rain across the Baja of California and right along the immediate coast there of northwestern Mexico. And there's some outliers here in the ensemble tracks to this on the European forecast model that this could be dumping potentially up to 16 inches of rainfall on this model. And then back to the GFS is all more bullish here than all of the other models, and actually brings this here as a category 3, if not a category 4 hurricane, which would dump even more rainfall over the Baja of California and Cabo San Lucas. The GFS model going all in on potentially 2 feet of rain in some spots. So definitely something to watch as we get into next week. And it's no surprise, the Eastern Pacific Basin, guys, we're right in the middle here, the peak of the hurricane season right now, and it's going to start to wind down toward October, November. But right now, no surprise, peak of the hurricane hurricane season, and that is something we'll watch over there. We'll keep you updated on that in the next few days. But looking at the Atlantic, a lot going on over here as well. We got Hurricane Danielle in the North Atlantic. We got Tropical Storm Earl just to the north and east of the Greater and Lesser Antilles. And then we got another system to watch here, potentially developing just off the coast here of Africa, moving into the southern Atlantic as well over the next 2 to 5 days as well. So looking first at Hurricane Danielle, you can see starting to develop a little bit of an eye wall, still kind of a little disorganized right now, but the western side of this has a lot of convection. The eastern side of this starting to gain some steam as well. So we're going to see probably a closed eye wall here rather soon, potentially with Hurricane Danielle. But again, this is moving well away from the United States, actually moving toward the European continent. So we're definitely going to be seeing this moving towards Europe with time. Again, probably strengthening to a hurricane by the middle of next week and then slowly falling off to a tropical storm as it approaches late next week, as it approaches the western and northwestern coast there of Europe. So we'll continue to watch that. But again, back down to the southwest, we're watching Tropical Storm Earl. That system is just to the north of the Windward Islands and going to be passing north of the Greater Antilles here as well. Very strong return here on the satellite imagery with Earl here with the whites and the reds showing up here. Very tall updrafts with some of these storms approaching 50, 60,000 feet as well. And again, zooming out to show you what we're talking about, this is Hurricane Danielle to the north. This is Tropical Storm Earl just to the northeast of the islands here. This will be moving toward the Bahamas and then kind of curling more toward Bermuda. So Bermuda, you might have to be on high alert for this system over the next several days. And looking at the National Hurricane Center's forecast, you can see this does strengthen eventually to a higher end tropical storm and then a hurricane, probably a Category 1 hurricane at the very least. As we head towards late this week, it's going to be a slow mover, but once it gets up toward Bermuda, maybe just east of Bermuda here, it's going to be a hurricane most likely as we get toward that Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday time frame going into early next week. And again, no surprise over here as well. The Gulf, the Caribbean, and much of the central and southern Atlantic, the western Atlantic, very warm water temperatures widespread in the upper 70s to mid 80s out here. So definitely some widespread sea surface temperatures, very favorable for these systems to develop and actually develop potentially even into major hurricanes as well. So we'll continue to watch that. And looking at Earl's intensity, a lot of the models actually strengthen this to a Category 1 and then even a Category 2 hurricane, with some of these strengthening even more to Category 3 or 4. So definitely another system to watch if you're near the Bahamas or even Bermuda. So again, it's going to have a slower movement to it. So we're going to have a lot more residence time over those warmer waters. So again, it could strengthen very quickly as it moves slower. Looking at the icon model here, you have Tropical Storm Earl down here, you have Hurricane Danielle here, and then the other system back to the west we're watching, or actually back to the east we're watching. As we get here into your Tuesday timeframe early next week, we got Danielle at a 962 millibar low pressure center, probably a Category 2 hurricane at the very least. And then we got a tropical storm here continuing across portions just to the north here of the Greater Antilles, moving toward the eastern Bahamas as we head into early next week, and then strengthening to a hurricane as we head here into late next week on your Thursday on the icon model, and then even a stronger hurricane, potentially a Category 3 as we get towards next weekend here as it approaches Bermuda with a 953 millibar low pressure center on the icon model. The European model not as strong, but still very similar in the track with the 970 millibar low pressure center there. Again, the GFS a little too fast, but I think the track has gotten a little better in the last few runs, and down to a 950 millibar low pressure center, which would also be a Category 3 or 4 hurricane with that as well. Looking at the Atlantic hurricane season, guys, no surprise. Again, we're approaching that peak now here. We're just a few days away from the peak of the hurricane season across the Atlantic, the Caribbean, and the Gulf. So that is no surprise. We're seeing all the activity out there across these areas. Brief update here on the La Nina. The La Nina has very quietly become very, increasingly strong. We're actually very much in the middle of a moderate La Nina right now. In the last couple of days, it's actually strengthened a little more. We got some cooler waters starting to show up across the equatorial Pacific. So now it's down to a negative 1.0 on the Nino index here. So that does mean we're right in the middle of the road of the moderate La Nina and actually trending towards a strong La Nina right now as we speak. And you can see that across the central Pacific here, just off the coast of South America here across the equator in the equatorial Pacific. we're seeing those cooler water anomalies showing up. And over the last 7 days, we started to see more bursts of cooler waters along the sea surface here, across these areas, across the equator. So that does equate to a strengthening La Nina, potentially to a strong La Nina officially as we head toward the end of September and into early October as we get into official, fall equinox. So we'll continue to watch that moving forward. I know that was a long video, guys. I wanted to update you guys on the heat, the flash flooding across the Ohio Valley and the Northeast, and as well as that extreme hurricane potential across the Eastern Pacific Basin and also all those systems into the Atlantic as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, remember to like the video down below and subscribe as well. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers. Again, if you guys want to leave any comments, questions, and concerns below, I will also be open to those as well. I will be, replying to those later on today as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you all in the next video.